Islam, Shalom, Hola, Aloha, Bonjour, Assalamu Alaikum, Osio. It's your brother Zach Bay, Indigenous American Moor, coming to you live in full effect. Like, share, subscribe to the video, hit the notification bell down below so you can be notified whenever I'm dropping new content. Hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, interact with me. Thank you. I really do appreciate your viewership. It really helps the algorithm. Let's jump into another one. I want to talk about strange events once again. There's always something going on. Sometimes you can see the full picture, sometimes you can't. Sometimes, there's a few breadcrumbs here, a few breadcrumbs here, there's a puzzle piece here, there's a puzzle piece there. You don't quite get the full picture, you don't quite know where it's leading you. There's a lot going on, fam. I just want to talk to you about it, touch base, let me know what you think. We can have a conversation in the comments down below. All right, let's jump into it. I want to start first on, I guess, the most major thing is a potential start for World War III. Hey, it seems like that doomsday clock to midnight is getting ever and ever closer. Presidential-elect Donald Trump has not taken office yet, but he's trying to do what he can to slow the progression of a potential start of this disaster, this like world altering event that could potentially take place, before we know it. If it does start, World War III will not look like the previous wars. It won't look anything like World War I. It won't look anything like World War II. If you've been paying attention to the news that's been going on between Ukraine and Russia, the military conflicts, if you've noticed that it's been so many drone strikes, they've been sending drone strikes back and forth to each other's territories. And, the cyber warfare, there's a lot of new technologies being used. Russia unveiled a new missile that I believe can travel like 2 miles per second, incredibly fast. And they actually listed and displayed pretty much a list of potential targets that if the United States and NATO continues to stick their nose in the affairs that's going on over there, giving more support to the Ukrainian ally. They showed a display of several major cities and countries that they could and would potentially target if they continue to support the Ukraine. So Russia really showed it's about like 5 or 6 targets that are other European nations that I believe are countries that are allied with NATO. So it's very concerning. Different nations around the world are getting their citizens prepared for the potential start of World War III. Fallout shelters, evacuation plans and routes. They're doing public announcements, public notices. They're being posted on, places where people can see them, on public transport, places of business, out in the streets. The governments of different nations like North Korea, South Korea. I believe South Korea actually tried to impose martial law about a week or two ago, but were stalled from doing that by their by the parliament. The president of South Korea tried to do martial law, but the parliament pretty much vetoed it. So it's like different nations are getting ready for a potential attack, so they can keep their citizens safe. Evacuation routes over here in the territory of the United States, Turtle Island, Amaghreb, Alexa, Morocco, all the names. Over here, millionaires and billionaires have been building bunkers. All right, it's not even a secret. Like, they're openly building bunkers, like fallout shelters, underground fallout shelters and bunkers for their families, their loved ones, in order to they have supplies stocked, and it's like it doesn't seem too far-fetched, these millionaires and billionaires are spending, millions of dollars building these fallout shelters, these bunkers, underground, radiation safe, getting all the organic seeds and stuff that they might potentially need in order to survive down there for several years if there a fallout, like a nuclear fallout does happen, due to nuclear war. Very, very concerning stuff, fam. That I think will be like the most concerning, that's everybody. If that starts, worldwide, it's going to be a change. Grocery stores are low on stocks for certain things. People are starting to talk about like the potential tariffs, like China might start pulling back when Trump gets into office, like trade wars type of thing. So some people are preparing to like tighten their belts, and they're saying some products are going to be, difficult to come by, stuff like that. But, that's just in the foreseeable future. And hopefully some of these things don't come to pass. Hopefully World War III doesn't start in our lifetime. Also, I wanted to speak on, there has been a report released saying that more military age males have entered this country illegally within the last several years under Biden's presidency than there are currently active members of our military currently to this date. So the numbers that they have for the influx of illegal migrants, military aged males from abroad have been coming here, and the numbers say that they outnumber our current active military. So it's technically a army. I wouldn't say a standing army, but it's technically a invading force that has outnumbered our military. According to this study, you can check it out. You can look this up and get the exact numbers, data, and statistics on this report. But hey, it's just something to know. So hopefully, if these mass deportations start to happen, we know that it'll be the criminals being removed, because we know a lot of nations emptied their prisons, emptied their jails, asylums, sent them over here for so-called asylum, and like they pretty much slipped their worst over here in order to make their countries better, take the burden off of their governments. Along with that, I want to speak on how a new trend is catching on when it comes to like corporations and how they're functioning and what they want to move the world toward. All right, it's getting more popular that corporations are starting to house their employees. It's becoming very common. I actually want to lead this into another video that I'm going to make later, on a follow-up, or like a more decoded breakdown, another decoded breakdown of Sorry to Bother You. It's a film that came out a couple years back starring Lakeith Stanfield, but it's called Sorry to Bother You, and it was talking about the labor laws, boycotting, unions, but they were starting to introduce the idea of this labor force that is pretty much ran and controlled by its corporate masters, and they house, feed, clothe their workforce. Like it was being advertised in that movie. I want to do a breakdown on it, but that's becoming a more common business model. I want to bring up this because we know that it's common and it's normal for the military to do this. All right, so how there are military bases, and all military bases are pretty much small cities. They have everything they need inside of there. So if that base needs to be shut down, they have gas, grocery stores, medical, they have everything they need that they will not be affected by a closing, or if supplies start to go low, if the hospitals are overran, they are kind of like shielded. They have like a sort of bubble to protect them, just in case resources for non-naturalized citizens to be non-naturalized citizens to be, you know, we have all of our own stuff outside of here. But if supplies that we have start to run out, they will always supply the military bases, because they've taken like a pledge to take care of their military, like the people who are protecting them and protecting their laws and their way of life. They're going to protect and house them, clothe them, make sure that pretty much that their army always has a way to fight and to be safe, and they don't have to worry about their families being attacked, and their families are going to be safe, because if a warrior or a soldier has to worry about their family at home being safe, they're not going to be as effective on the battlefield. You get what I'm saying? So with this business model, I liken it to the police cities that are currently being built and planned as we speak. There was a lot of talk about it in Georgia, I believe. There was like a military city, no, not a military city, pardon me, a police city that was being scheduled to be built, and there was a protest happening. It was raided. People tried to like stop the construction. You know, people were protesting, and nobody wants this thing built. Like, why are you building a police city to house their family? Like, pretty much to house, for each state to house its own military force. And I'm not talking about well-regulated and constitutional militias here. All right, I'm not talking about like these militias. I'm talking about a corporate police force. These police are corporate servants. They're policy enforcers, and if they don't have to worry about their family being safe, if shit hits the fan, martial law happens, crackdown, and shit hits the fan, they don't have to worry about their family being unsafe, and they have to leave the service of being a police officer on an order, or policy enforcer, in order for them to, you know, worry about the homestead back home being safe in their family and stuff like that. So they're employing the same exact model to protect their potential military force, to protect their potential standing army, so they can fight for them without having to worry about anything back at home. Their families, their children, you know, they always have a place to stay that's going to be safe, that's separated from you and I, from normal citizenry. They're protected, separated, and bubbled, fam. So this is not good. Like, if shit hits the fan, these people are going to be the ones who are going door to door, collecting people, taking you to internment camps, FEMA camps. These will be the people herding large masses of people into mass graves, into gas chambers, into, you know, into firing lines. Like, when you see, if you've ever seen or read some of the diaries or some of the reports of some of the military soldiers who were in operation during the Third Reich, people who were just following orders. They said they were just following orders. And that's why this so-called "I'm just following orders" excuse was banned, outlawed by the Geneva Convention. Like, a soldier can be held liable for crimes against humanity, genocide, things of that nature, even during war times. So there's certain things that people are supposed to do. People are supposed to do and aren't supposed to do when it comes to war times. You know, all right, you're not supposed to be doing genocide and things of that nature. Cruel, unusual punishments. Like, they say all is fair in love and war, but there's supposed to be a decorum to how civilized warfare is fought. You know, you can't just try to completely wipe everybody and everything out. That's not good for anyone, you know, planetarily. And it doesn't set a good precedence. You know what I'm saying? If that constantly happens, like, entire groups of people will be wiped out from this planet. You know what I'm saying? Like, those genetic markers, those genetic identifiers, those genetic those genetics can potentially be wiped out from the face of the earth if certain people have their way. You know, like, nobody wants someone's genetic to be placed inside a test tube to be like, look, we have melanin right here. There's no more melanated people on the planet, but if you want melanin, it's here. It's vial form only. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody wants that, fam. But there's people who are moving and operating, pulling strings in order to bring this utopian reality into, that type of dystopian future into reality. I also want to make a side note that I read a post that the creator of the show Black Mirror, all right, kind of like sort of like a Twilight Zone type of show. If you've ever seen it, check it out, look it up. It shows like dystopian visions of the future. The creator of that literally made a post and said that the reason they stopped making Black Mirror, or they might not continue to make a new season of Black Mirror, is that the world that we're currently living in is likened to one of those dystopian realities written in his science fiction brainchild. You know what I'm saying? So the reason he stopped doing it is because he literally said the world we're living in now, the way it's going, and with a lot of things that are happening now, are just like one of his dystopian realities. Like, a dystopian reality is the opposite of a utopian reality. All right, a utopia, when you hear like utopia, it's like a great place, the land of milk and honey, you know, is good for all. There's enough resources for everybody. No one is lacking anything. It's a utopia. You have everything you need, everything you wanted. A dysutopia is the opposite of that. All right, it's like you don't have everything you wanted. Things are in disarray. Things are incredibly depressing. Things are not like life should be. Not how life should be. It's horrible. But let's continue along here, because there's a lot to talk about, and I don't want to make this video too long. I'm trying to end it around like 22 minutes or so, like that. I want to talk about how a lot of people were saying, and a lot of people were covering this, the CEO of the United Healthcare was assassinated. It was definitely an assassination for sure. People are saying the fall guy, the guy who they recently called Luigi, they're saying that he's not the real assassin. He's a fall guy. It's like they're saying he's a dude with a 130 IQ. He's been missing out of that area. Well, he's been on the run for a week now. Why would he be found with the suppressor that was used for the assassination? Why would he be found with the same exact firearm that was used for the assassination? And why would he have multiple multiple passports and ID cards? Maybe the multiple passports and ID card part, but why would he still keep all this damning and incriminating evidence on him when he's already been on the run for days now? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you keep all that with you? And also, they're saying, why would he take off his mask in order to show his face before the attempt happened? And I'm like, that doesn't really make sense either. If an assassin was that intelligent, why would he risk exposure of his anonymity? Making sure that he stays anonymous, fam. Like, hiding his identity. We've learned as a society how facial recognition was starting to be rolled out during like the COVID times, how they were trying to implant like a lot of this facial recognition technology because people were forced to wear masks and you can only see like, eyes. So with all of that in mind, why would he even risk removing his mask even hours before, that? And then they said he was ID'd by like a McDonald's worker or something like that. He was picked up in a McDonald's in like Pennsylvania, like a state away, and it was a McDonald's worker who wanted the reward. And then it turns out, like, remember I told you I went over in an episode of Black's Law Dictionary, and it spoke about blood money. The definition for blood money is somebody who potentially turns in another for a capital crime, capital offense, in order to get some type of payment. This person wanted this reward, this blood money. It was like a $10,000. People were complaining about it being like a $10,000 reward for the CEO, and I believe it might have been increased to $50,000. Once this person called it in, they called 911, but they didn't call the hotline tip number, which would have entitled them to the reward. So whoever offered the rewards is reneging on on them even trying to bring this person, this alleged person, to to justice. It's wild. They did all of that, and now they're not even going to get the money. Like, come on, yo. A lot of people were also saying how this would-be assassin, this so-called assassin, this alleged assassin, he was being like praised as a hero because the rich have been eating off of us for so long, and there's an old saying that soon the poor will eat the rich. Like, when things get bad, the poor will eat the rich. Not literally eat them, figuratively eat them, as we're gonna tear them apart. Like, if you think about what happened during the French Revolution, all right, like the historical French Revolution, when the citizens took all the aristocrats, the nobles, all of these people who are high and lofty and high and mighty and lofty positions, and these family names and things of that nature. They took all of these people, aristocrats, nobility, all these people with these titles, and they just beheaded them with a guillotine. Like, when they say the poor will eat the rich, that's what they mean. They mean French Revolution, down with the aristocrats, down with the nobility, down with the corporate overlords, down with the people who are incredibly wealthy, who have been eating off of our virtues for so long. That's what's going to happen. So that's why a lot of people were praising this would-be assassin, the so-called assassin, as like a hero, as like a modern day vigilante, Robin Hood or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Another thing that I want to lead into the next thing I'm talking about is a backpack was found days before that they found this Luigi character, right? And inside the backpack, it had Monopoly money, fam. That is a huge clue. That's a huge clue. That's like a damn near like a warning. It's like a marker. It's a symbol. We need to figure out exactly what that symbol is. Like, just surface level, like, he took out this person who could potentially be responsible for the deaths of many, for all the denials. There was a bullet casing that was found, and they were writing on the bullets saying, deny, defend, and depose. Pretty much how these insurance companies operate. So, murder for murder, blood money, blood for blood. But the monopoly money, fam, the monopolies, these people are getting rich, and these people are killing citizens. They're killing millions of people with their business practices, with their normal business practices, except so-called acceptable losses, fam. That's what they're doing every single day. And it's time for, like, we the people to really stand up and show them that we're not going to sit down. We're not going to sit back and allow them to continue to do this to us. All right. They're leading into my next piece before I end this, is a lot of major corporations for the past several years now. They've been doing these huge corporate mergers. Industries are starting to consolidate into monopolies. That's what's going on. These huge healthcare industries are starting to merge, and they're becoming monopolies. We're supposed to have laws in this country to prevent companies from having and building monopolies. Ever since John D. Rockefeller, Henry Ford, ever since those days, fam, like before the Reconstruction, during the industrial age of this country, like having a monopoly on a certain industry is supposed to be outlawed. You're not supposed to do that. That's exactly what's happening now. These huge corporate mergers, they're all combining and consolidating, and they're becoming monopolies. And they want to have a global chokehold. You know how people say, "Oh, that thing had you in a chokehold." They want to have a global chokehold on the healthcare industry. A judge just denied some of the largest grocery chains from doing a huge corporate merger. I believe it was like Kroger and another grocery chain wanted to do a merger, and it was denied by a judge. So imagine if the food, like the places we buy our food, like if you're not a farmer and if you're not growing, food off the land, right? If you're going to the grocery store every single day, like the majority of people, too many of us, unfortunately, but imagine if there's only 2 grocery store chains in America or in the world. Imagine if there's only 2 places you can go to buy groceries, and they control these places with all these laws, restrictions, and things like that. Facial ID, there's no more cash, there's no more employees there, there's robots doing everything. Like, they can have so much control over it if there's only a very small number of people who are in the driver's seat, pretty much, in the operator seat. So that's very, very concerning, fam. When it comes, that's one of the hitting symbols, I believe, was supposed to be conveyed in that monopoly money being found inside that backpack. I actually have let's see one more thing before I end this. Monopolies are family names. I made a video talking about names, how names are powerful and names are important. There has been people talking about, I saw this brother, he was doing a TED talk or something like that, but he was bringing up the importance of the names that we're wearing. He's saying all the brands that we're wearing are family names, fam. That's how they're getting wealthy. That's how they're getting rich. They're putting their family names on this brand, and we, the people who are consumers, are consuming their products and making their family more wealthy. That's what we're wearing on our bodies when it comes to clothing. When we're going shopping for automobiles and things of that nature. These are family names. Henry Ford, that's a family name. Come on now, that's just to name a few. There's plenty of families. DuPonts, come on, man. The 13 families that allegedly supposed to have power in this country. All these major corporations and these monopolies are family names. That's why names are important. You have to pay attention to who these families are. Also, some people, in order to remove themselves and to protect themselves, they change the name that they use. So someone like a family is notable as the Rothschilds. If somebody doesn't want to be associated with them, they can just legally change their name from Rothschild and just operate under another name, and they won't be associated with the Rothschilds. That's what a lot of families have done. Some of the older businesses, some of the older names, corporations, they might have changed. They might have renamed it, rebranded, and they named it something else. And you just have to know that it's family names that are behind all of these major corporations, fam. So names are important, and monopolies, down with the monopolies. No monopolies, fam. That's why monopoly money was found in that backpack, putting a highlight on the healthcare industry, also the food industry, and many other industries, automotive industry, health, medical industry. Come on now. Hopefully this made sense. Hopefully it didn't go too far over your head. Let me know how I did down below. Once again, this is your brother Zach Bay, Indigenous America More. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. Peace.